The US president here in Doha on the second leg of a Middle East tour that has made an awful lot of news in this region and beyond. Donald Trump arriving to pomp and circumstance, similar to what we saw yesterday in Saudi Arabia. This time including camels and red Cybertrucks, a nod to Elon Musk. Bilateral meetings are planned here, along with what are expected to be investment agreements that could reach hundreds of billions of dollars. Well, before leaving Air Force One, the president talked about his extraordinary meeting in Riyadh on Tuesday with Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Great. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Strong pass, very strong pass fighter. But he's got a real shot at pulling it together. I spoke with President Erdogan, who I'm very friendly with, and he feels he's got a shot at doing a good job.
Before traveling here to Doha.
Well, before their meeting, President Trump announced plans to lift punishing US sanctions on Syria. He says Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who attended in person, and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who you just heard mentioned, and who joined that meeting on the phone, both played an instrumental role in his decision. Well, Mr. Trump later joined a meeting of the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC, lavishing praise on the nations in attendance and this whole region, frankly. CNN senior White House reporter Betsy Klein joining me again today. It's good to have you. You and I were in Riyadh yesterday. We're in Doha today. Take us through the play-by-play, as it were, today with this pomp and circumstance, and also what the expectations are here in Qatar.
Certainly, there was so much fanfare this morning in Doha as President Trump making his arrival, the second stop of a three-stop Middle East tour, and his hosts really understood the assignment here. We saw a fleet of Cybertrucks directing the motorcade, a red carpet arrival. He was greeted by the Emir. There was a cavalry of mounted camels as he pulled in to his destination. So really understanding what it is that makes President Trump tick.
Suggesting he likes a bit of pomp and circumstance.
This is the reality television president, and he is so keenly aware of stagecraft and what things look like on television and being welcomed. It's his hosts really understand that. That is a key priority for them as they seek to curry favor with the president. We also have seen Qatar really emerge as a key mediator here for the United States, particularly in this Israel-Hamas conflict. And I think President Trump really wanted to come here and roll out some kind of big deal to end this conflict, to release the hostages. That just has proven so elusive. And so in the absence of that, the president, as you reported, is dispatching his top envoy, Steve Witkoff, who's going to be meeting with top Israeli officials here in Doha today.
Yeah, that is really a delegation on the ground. Steve Witkoff is here, as you rightly suggest. Adam Boehler is here, the chief hostage negotiator. And these are indirect talks with Hamas. They seem to have gained some momentum once again. These talks have been ongoing, but certainly some momentum as President Trump arrives in Doha. Let's talk about this Syria story. Mr. Trump making waves for one, meeting the president, the new president, and two, lifting sanctions on the country. This is a crippled economy, and what happens in Syria doesn't stay in Syria. We know that. A revitalized economy in Syria can help with regional stability and security, of course.
Right, and I think that is why the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, as well as the Turkish president, really put some pressure on President Trump to make this decision to lift these sanctions, as we heard him announce last night in Riyadh. But also, we saw him today meeting with the interim president of Syria. He says he's exploring normalizing relations. They had a quick hello and a tea. It lasted about 30 minutes, according to a White House official. Really the highest level engagement to date between the Trump administration and this interim Syrian president. And President Trump gave him a series of directives. I just want to read to you. He included signing on to the Abraham Accords to normalize relations with Israel, telling all foreign terrorists to leave Syria, deporting Palestinian terrorists, terrorists, help the United States to prevent the resurgence of ISIS, and assume responsibility for ISIS detention centers in northern Syria. Now, the Syrian interim president said yes when asked about joining that Abraham Accords pact eventually, according to Trump telling reporters on Air Force One that he had a very positive meeting.
Right, and that would be quite seismic. We know that Donald Trump had originally hoped that normalization, which is a key pillar for his Middle East policy, would be possible between Saudi Arabia and Israel. He has to concede that that is not possible at this stage, not with the ongoing crisis in Gaza, the conflict in Gaza, and no credible pathway to a Palestinian state. No partner in peace is how it's described in this region. No partner in peace in Israel at present for the Saudis. So that parked for the time being. Certainly this directive now to the Syrian president, get inside those Abraham Accords as well. Let's see what happens with that. It's good to have you. Thank you very much.
Elena Trina, our White House reporter, is with us right now. Elena, this is significant what the president is doing. Qatar and the U.S. have had a long-standing military relationship, a lot of cooperation from Qatar in terms of the U.S. military central command. I've been to Camp Asaliya, a military base outside of Doha. I've been to the El Udeid Air Base, where the U.S. has a lot of fighter jets based. So there's a lot of military cooperation between the U.S. and Qatar. But now this controversy has erupted over Qatar wanting to give the president of the United States a plane.
That's right. And just some other things about Qatar recently as well is that they've been a key mediating force in a lot of the talks that they are having, particularly between the Israelis and Hamas. They've been very helpful in dealing with Hamas and wanting to, expand on the ceasefire agreement that, of course, has now fallen apart. But yes, right now we just saw them signing this. They had the signing ceremony on aviation, having, buying planes from the U.S. And then also we're told an agreement on defense, of course. But I do think your point about the Boeing jet, that is the one thing that everyone is paying attention to. And actually, the president made comments last night. He did an interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity, where he actually suggested, I thought this was the most striking moment of that interview, where he said, the Qataris suggested to him, let us help you. If we can help you, let us. And of course, we're seeing the president show that he's very amenable to that he wants to accept it. He's calling it a gift to the State Department. But of course, it raises serious ethical questions we've heard now from a lot of Democrats, but also Republicans and some Trump allies, people like Laura Loomer or Ben Shapiro, saying this is not ethical, this is not legal. And so that's, of course, something that everyone is watching for today, is what's actually going to happen with that. And of course, as well, when you talk about the plane, which the president and his team are trying to refer to as this hotel in the sky, is that it would cost still hundreds of millions of dollars to try and retrofit it. It would take years to do that. There are so many different security implications of this. Secret Service has said that this would be a security nightmare. They'd have to tear the plane apart looking for surveillance devices. They'd have to add some of the capabilities we know that Air Force One needs. So that's going to be a huge deal if that actually comes together. The president himself saying that he very much thinks that he should accept it. He even said he thought he'd be stupid not to.
He said that, indeed. And there's another major development unfolding in Doha, Qatar today, and that is an Israeli delegation is heading to Doha to continue negotiations with the U.S. Steve Witkoff, the special U.S. envoy, is already there with Hamas to see if they can get more hostages released.
Right. So this has been a huge deal. I think, first of all, of course, what has been very encouraging to the Trump administration is what we saw happen on Monday with the release of Edon Alexander, the last living American hostage being held by Hamas. That timing was so significant and very strategic, I believe, on behalf of Hamas, because they recognize, they didn't get anything in return for releasing him. And it is, I think, from my conversations with Trump administration officials, they are viewing this as a goodwill gesture. I think the president said so himself. And so that's really the talks today with Steve Witkoff, leading those from the United States side, is going to be a key part of this, is how many more hostages can they release? And of course, trying to view this as how can they get back to ceasefire talks, because we have seen that fall apart. And all of this comes, of course, as there has been some frustration we've been reporting behind the scenes with Trump administration officials and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of people questioning, is he actually committed to ending this war? And I think we should get some more insights on, depending on how those negotiations go today.